How are rocks named? Rocks are named based on their mineral composition, texture, and origin. The naming of rocks is an important part of the geologic classification system, which is used to organize and categorize the Earth's diverse rock formations. One of the most common ways that rocks are named is by their mineral composition. Rocks that are composed primarily of a single mineral, such as limestone, composed mostly of calcium carbonate, or quartzite, composed mostly of quartz, are often named after that mineral. Rocks that are composed of a mixture of minerals are named based on the relative abundance of each mineral. For example, granite is a rock that is primarily composed of feldspar, quartz, and mica. Texture is another important criterion used in naming rocks. Texture refers to the size, shape, and arrangement of the mineral grains or crystals that make up the rock. For example, a fine-grained igneous rock that cools quickly from magma will be named a basalt, while a coarse-grained igneous rock that cools slowly will be named a granite. Rocks can also be named based on their origin or the process that formed them. For example, sedimentary rocks are named based on the type of sediment from which they formed. Sandstone, shale, and limestone are all examples of sedimentary rocks that are named based on the type of sediment that was deposited and later compacted and cemented together. Metamorphic rocks are named based on the type of parent rock from which they formed and the conditions of heat and pressure that caused the original rock to change. For example, a metamorphic rock that formed from shale through intense heat and pressure might be named a slate, while a metamorphic rock that formed from limestone might be named a marble. In addition to these naming conventions, rocks are also often named after the location where they were first discovered or where they are particularly abundant. For example, the rocks that make up the Grand Canyon in Arizona are known as the Grand Canyon Group, while the rocks that make up the Appalachian Mountains are known as the Appalachian Formation. Overall, the naming of rocks is an important part of the geologic classification system and helps geologists communicate information about the Earth's history and processes. By carefully naming and categorizing rocks based on their mineral composition, texture, and origin, geologists can gain insight into the processes that have shaped the Earth over millions of years. How are rocks distinguished from each other? Rocks are distinguished from each other based on a variety of factors, including their mineral composition, texture, structure, and origin. These characteristics can provide important clues about the geological processes that formed the rock and the environmental conditions that were present at the time of formation. Mineral composition is one of the most important factors in distinguishing between different types of rocks. Different minerals have distinct physical and chemical properties, such as color, hardness, and crystal structure, that can be used to identify them. For example, granite is a rock that is primarily composed of feldspar, quartz, and mica, while basalt is a rock that is composed primarily of pyroxene and plagioclase feldspar. Texture is another important criterion used in distinguishing between different types of rocks. Texture refers to the size, shape, and arrangement of the mineral grains or crystals that make up the rock. Igneous rocks, for example, can be distinguished based on their texture, which is determined by the rate of cooling of the magma or lava that formed them. A fine-grained igneous rock that cools quickly from magma will be named a basalt, while a coarse-grained igneous rock that cools slowly will be named a granite. Structure is another important factor in distinguishing between different types of rocks. Structural features such as bedding planes, joints, and faults can provide important information about how the rock was formed and how it has been altered over time. Sedimentary rocks, for example, can be distinguished based on the orientation of their bedding planes, which can provide information about the direction and intensity of the forces that caused the sediment to accumulate. Finally, the origin of the rock can also provide important clues about its identity. Rocks that are formed from molten magma or lava are known as igneous rocks, while rocks that are formed from the accumulation and compression of sediment are known as sedimentary rocks. Metamorphic rocks are formed from pre-existing rocks that have been altered by heat and pressure. Overall, distinguishing between different types of rocks requires careful observation and analysis of their mineral composition, texture, structure, and origin. By carefully studying these characteristics, geologists can gain insight into the geological processes that have shaped the Earth over millions of years. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications.